Welcome back to Sprueverse, my scale model universe, people of Earth. Welcome to a brand new build. Today on the bench we have the USS Kelvin, that's right, NCC 0514, and this is from the alternate universe, obviously, but it is a really cool looking ship, and I think that Moebius have done a really terrific job. And great, it's a great kit. You've all got it. You've either built it and are going, done that, or you have it on your stash pile and you're going, oh, okay, well, maybe this is a motivator. I hope it is, because this should be a lot of fun. It's not a terribly big scaled thing, and that's why I like it. I can sort of get my hand around it. We're not going to be lighting this, so there's a bunch of you out there who may be disappointed, but you know, we can't light everything. And I think this is going to be a fun out-of-the-box build. Now, there are a couple of aftermarket things that I want to sort of talk about. The first one is there is a little bit of photo etch available out there. I know because I've checked it, and so that's available. I don't think Paragraphics ever offered one. Paul never offered a set. I don't recall. I hope I'm correct if I'm wrong, but I checked and I didn't see it. Green Strawberry has one, if you so desire to go over there. And I think HDA Model Works, if you check them out, most of you know who they are. Jerry over there is offering some aftermarket 3D printed resin parts for this, so you can really add more detail. But sometimes it's fun to build out of the box, and that's what we're going to do here. We're going to build it out of the box, and let's see what we get. Okay, before we dive in, I wanted to talk about the masks, because this particular model uses the Aztek masking sort of over it, and I do love that. In fact, you can see it here on the instructions, and if we get closer, there's a really there's a nice view. I don't think it's excellent, but there's a nice view of what the Aztek might look like. Now you can paint this however you'd like. I'm going to dive in with my standard spaceship base color, which is my Tamiya Insignia white. It has a little bit of gray in it, and then we build up from there. I think it's a nice base coat for adding color, and then we're going to be adding the Aztek. Now, curiously enough, I've never seen this before, but this kit showed up with a saucer template, which I thought was really interesting. This comes with the kit, and essentially what they want you to do is put the kit on some low-tack frisket, and then go to town on cutting out your shapes, and lo and behold, you have Azteking for your model. But I say nay nay. I say thank you, but I say nay nay. I say you quickly rush to your computer, you type in Cult TV Man, and you look for Aztek Dummies masking set for this kit. It is AD61 for those of you who want to play along at home. This is the Aztek dummy kit for this setup, and I have to tell you, it's beautiful. You get all of your Aztek masks, plus you get some masking for your details as well, for your clear parts and for your nacelles and some of the other detailing. It's all here, and of course, what I love about this is I like working with the 1350, the TOS or the refit. Oh my God, it's a thing. But this should go down quite well, and it should actually be fun just because of the scale of it. We can actually get it all up in front of us. So here we are with the masking set from Aztek Dummy. He obviously provides exceptional instructions, as always. Just giving you some pros and some cons. And what I love about this is, you know, he talks about the Kelvin verse and the Kelvin timeline. And sort of in the world of Star Trek, that's been known to, it's known now as the JJ Abrams series of movies. But he says, as he explains in his instructions here, that that's a bit of a misnomer, since the Kelvin designs existed before the interruption in the timeline. But we, as he said, the great Lou Del Mesa, we shall not split hairs, and we shall not, because he tells us not to. Hey, when Lou says don't split hairs, I don't split them. Okay. So we're going to use those masks. We're not going to use the template that comes along with it, but it was kind of cool to know that they're starting to move in that direction, because, you know, some of these things are helpful. So that is good. Instructions are very clean and simple. It's your classic Moebius instructions. And we're going to sort of just basically follow along, but we're going to hit our clear parts with some red and some blue for the engine and for the well, I guess for the, yeah, basically we're gonna be doing the rear navigation dome light as well in some color, but the whole thing should go together quite well. And they've got this kind of nifty base. This is the first time I've seen it, not that generic black dome. It's a very nice base, and you know, you can see here that what they've done. Well, let me pull this out. We're a little too close, but you can see it's a base that we can actually there's a better shot for you. I don't know why I was trying to get you that close. Sorry about your eyes there, guys. But anyway, nice base, so we can clean this up and make it look pretty nifty. Get some dry brushing on it or whatever you want. You could also, you know, if you're smart enough, get into a CAD program, get these vinyl pieces cut out and put it on something really nifty. Like you could get it, you know, get some gold stenciling or whatever and put it on a really nice mahogany base. You can do a lot of things with it. But we're right out of the box. Okay. Thrilled to have you along on this journey. Lots of fun. We're going to just sort of, I'm going to now go ahead and clean everything up. And I'm going to get a coat of primer on everything. Once I've looked at which things can be pre-assembled. And if there's anything that can be pre-assembled in the assembly process, I'm going to go ahead and do that before I get primer on it. But not a lot of parts here, but definitely, you know, it's always one of those things where we want to take our time, right? Okay, so we'll come back when I've made a little progress here. Another quick pop in here. Before I go to prime. So earlier we were talking about the walls, right? These walls. And if you believe the keying system on this, you're going to end up with gaps between your walls. At least I did. You can start trimming them. There's no point, in my opinion. They line up beautifully. Just snip off the tabs and make sure that you're nice and flush. Then you don't have to worry about puttying. You're good to go. And you end up, ironically enough, with this. There's a gap here, and it's actually quite funny because this gap here. Can I get you in focus, or are you going to misbehave? Oh, that's okay. There you go. That gap on the top is a lot thicker than it should be, but it doesn't matter because your clear part just sits over it like that, and all is right in the world. So I just wanted to jump in and say that if you're going to have that trouble, cut those tabs, and you'll just be happier you did. Okay, I'm gonna prime now. Now I've got to use some Aztek dummy masks here for my my windows in the bridge, and those are supplied in the Aztek dummy masking kit, so it'll be no problem. I'm gonna drop those in now, and then I'm gonna hit this get a coat of gray primer on everything, and we should be ready to start assembly. Everything else is good. I've painted everything I need to paint. Some of the other details I will put on once we've assembled it. But very, very happy with this. I have to say, these small kits are an awful lot of fun to play with. Awful lot of fun. We'll see how it paints up, but I'm enjoying it. I managed to get a good coat of primer on this. My go-to was Decal, and that went on quite well. Before I put down my Tamiya Insignia white, which is an off gray, it's a very, very light gray, but I do like it for my base coat before I put down my Aztecing. And then what I'll do is when I go to blend everything back, I'll use something that's a little it's got a little more white in it, and that should push everything back. But I want the contrast to start with, and when you read the Aztek dummy instructions, that's how he recommends you get the depth from the Aztecing. You know, get it on a little heavier and then blend it back. So that's what I'm going to do. Since we're not lighting the kit, all I had to do was just put my masking on. I've got a couple of small pieces that I'm ready now to actually install. So we're going to do that, and then I will sort of hit those with a quick coat of primer, and just making sure that there's nothing on this edge. I noticed, interestingly enough, and I know this is something that you see a lot, is especially with the plastic pieces, it's really difficult and challenging sometimes when the actual sprue connection is in an obvious place. Now I'm sure there's a real reason why they can't hide those, but sometimes it becomes a little annoying, but that's okay. It isn't anything we can't handle. So all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to just clean up this little edge here. I notice it's got just a little bit of flash on it right there. That's good. And then we'll just okay. Excuse the fingers, they're looking exceptionally ugly today, but you know, what can I tell you? Okay, the nice thing about this is there's only one way these pieces can go in. Now, I do know that there's a little bit of tan that goes on here, but we've got masking for it. So I am going to go ahead and I'm going to settle these pieces down. And I'm using MEK to do that. So we'll get a nice generous amount here in this. And that will start to set up And we'll get some on the corresponding piece like that. The nice thing about these pieces obviously is they only go in one way, so you can't really screw up. The other thing I wanted to say is I'm super impressed with the way this seam line it disappears because of this very, very faint but very clever here I'll tip it and you can see it. So this wonderful detail piece here, this raised edge which sort of disappears, hides that edge beautifully. So you end up with a really nice clean piece. Okay, so that takes care of that. Yeah, that takes care of that. Now I've got on this edge, I've got a couple of pieces here that have to drop in. Let's see here. Put this one in. These are really fun kits. They're not complicated, but they've got lots of fun details. And so really excited to have this in my collection. There we go. Okay. I believe that is supposed to be raised like that. Let's see here. Unless that's not sitting nicely. Let's see here. No, I think it's supposed to be raised. It looks correct. It lines up nicely with the ledge, so I think I'm in correctly. Yeah, there's a raised edge here, and that lines up with that. However, that doesn't look right. Let me pull that out. See what's going on. Let's see here. Let's see here. I think. Try this again. Ah, there we go. Had it in the wrong way. It's okay, you could be afraid. Oh dear. Never gets old, that. Okay, and got this piece here. And I'm just going to check the dry fit on that. Now, I'm noticing this has a little bit of cleanup to do here. Can feel it. Just want that off so that so it sits nicely. And that there is a little tab there, but it feels like it's part of the design element. So quickly dry fit that and see. Oh, flew off. Let's see here. Looks pretty good. Sits in there nicely. Okay, so that's in. I've got the, here it's in clear, but that's going to be, I'm going to make that steel and I'm going to give it a wash. The only thing I've got left now is I've got to install this rear piece here. Now I have dry fitted it and it is fine. So liking the MEK only because what I've discovered is that you do get some time to kind of play with it and move it around and make sure it's sitting where it needs to be. And I do like that aspect of working with it. And then of course you can, oh, I see what I did. Let's see here, let me try this again. Okay, set this down. Wasn't sure whether or not this was a detail that needed a separate color, but it doesn't appear to be the case. So I can go ahead and drop that in. That looks pretty good. And then now, for those of you following along at home, just don't be lazy and sand your surfaces down. I, on the other hand, thought I could get away with that. Yeah, there we go. It bit. Okay, it just took a minute, and then we'll get a little putty in there. But that is everything. So that is, now what I've noticed too is the nacelle. The nacelle, it needs to be, I'm going to paint that first before I attach it, only because it's going to be really difficult to get in there. I could spray that, I suppose, but I'm going to hit it first because I want to get some decent coverage, and I'm noticing that that's going to be a bit of a challenge, so I'm going to paint that separately. On the other hand, the sort of the top of this, which is the hull, which is kind of the secondary hull, I guess, that needs to go on because I've got some, I am just all fingers and thumbs today. I've got some puttying I need to do here for that to sit nicely. And since it's on top, we want this seam here we want that to disappear. So I'm gonna glue this one in, and this surface, this appears to be relatively easy to get to. Now, so those will be that's sort of the next job here that we're working on. Now what I wanted to share with you just quickly, and I'm going to get rid of this because sure as I'm sitting here, that's going to go over. Okay. So what I wanted to show you now is this piece here. And what we've got to do is we've got to get the, this is the Bassard collector right here. Here it is. I've painted it in the Tamiya clear, and then I added my red to the top. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to dry brush this with some silver to give this, give this some punch. Now, a lot of you might be saying, that's not how it looked. Well, if you followed me long enough, I say, hey, paint your model the way you want to. You don't have to be Canon. Just make it look cool. And that's what I'm doing because it's such a small area that it needs a little help. So in terms of detail, and dry brushing that is going to give it some really nice detail. And then I've got, on top of that, I've got my deflector dish antenna that I'm going to hit the tip of this with a little copper, and that should look that should make that look pretty good. And then then the Bassard collector assembly will go into the magnetic field generator, which is already inside. It's already inside the nacelle. I've just got to finish this up. with just a little color in there just to sort of punch that up. So that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to dry brush this, and then we should be ready for sub-assembly, and we'll get some color on this. I'm using Vallejo Model Air Insignia White. It's their 71279. For those of you who are interested. For those of you who are not. Okay. So, time to get a little color on this baby. You know the routine, light coats. We're going to dust it on. I go very light at first, just to see what my coverage is like. Already you can see it makes such a huge difference to this model color. You know, this sort of utopian society that Star Trek lives in, everything wants to be clean and whites and gray, you know, sort of bright, not bright colors, but colors that are, they're happy colors. They're not dark, miserable colors. I don't know how else to describe it. Okay. No need to thin your Model Airs. At least I don't find you need to, as long as your brush is nice and clean. Although I'm hearing a little bit of spatter on this, and the nice thing about these Vallejo colors is they dry back very nicely. What I mean by that is they have a very kind of nice muted feel to them, and so you can really add contrast and tonality to your color scheme very easily. People who paint with enamels I really admire, because I've just never figured out how to use them. But people swear by enamels, especially the old testers. You know, I know people who like make it their life's quest to find them and keep them in their arsenal. I've always been so impressed by that, because I find them very difficult to use. Although I suppose if you're watering them down, it's fine. Okay. It's going on really well. Nice coverage. And there she blows. Very nice. Still wet, so it's a little shiny, but you get the idea. So I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to continue to get paint on this thing of beauty, and we'll come back when I'm ready to start Aztecing. Very excited about that. The nice thing is this color is quite forgiving, but you can see here I've got just a little bit of cleanup to do. There's a little gap there. That's to be expected. So I wanted to get this on and then let this set up and dry, and then we're ready to start Aztecing. And I'm going to start on the underneath, and then I'm going to work my way over to the top, because I want that to be the nicest, and I want to spend some more time on that. But that's going to take, it's going to take a little bit. But I think you can see now with that on, and with this on, you can see that the Kelvin starts to look like the Kelvin. Look at me trying to orient in a camera. So weird. I'd never make it into space. I have no kinesthetic sense. That's one of the most amazing things about astronauts and stuntmen. They have kinesthetic sense. They know when they're upside down. Yeah. But very good. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is, well, I think this piece can drop in. There's no reason why it shouldn't. Let's see here. There we go. Let me put this on. Okay. That's on. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on this seam. This seam right here. So what I'm going to do, let's see, is I'm going to get out my perfect putty again. I like the perfect putty because in a situation like this, it's a little more forgiving. And then a couple of Q-tips here. Get one wet. Get some perfect putty out. The thing about the perfect putty is if you've got small, difficult places to get to, and I just find that the white is a little more forgiving. That's just my opinion. So should be able to get this blended in here without too much difficulty. I've got a few little nigglies that have to be cleaned up, but it's okay. The object of the exercise here is just to get this in the crack. There she blows. Most likely this is just interior paint grade caulking. Most likely. You know, we have something here in the States called Alex. It's a lovely caulking for covering up seams and cracks in paint. I'm sure wherever you are on the planet Earth, you have your own version of that. I'm seeing here just a little bit in the corner here, so that needs to be blended in, and that's good. Get that blended in like that. And then you clean it up. And it cleans up really well. Okay. Just like that. Just like that. She is perfect. That seam will disappear. So now I've just got to come around and do the top. Going to do the same thing. I find this incredibly relaxing. I don't know. This is part of the hobby I love. I get neurotic about gluing things together. I have to do 50,000 dress rehearsals, and then I still don't get it right. That's okay. There we go. Sorry, I can't, what do they say? Talk and chew gum at the same time. I can't do it. So when I'm concentrating, I stop talking. And you're probably saying, well, that's a relief. He should do more concentrating. Oh, I can't tell you. I've only had this channel a few years, and I remember the first time I got this vitriolic comment about how I don't build anything, I just talk. Oh dear. Never mind. It's all good. Lou always says to me, you know, the comeback is, oh, I'm sorry. I'm preventing you from finding a cure for cancer. But hey ho. Okay, I'm just going to go down this seam and continue that on, and then this is obviously going to get touched up with the warm gray, and then we'll be ready to. I'm going to let this really thoroughly dry overnight, and then I'm going to just hit it with just a little bit of flat acrylic. You know, just to hold it so it doesn't scratch up, because this is where it starts to, you know, it can ding. We continue. Fun to use. Now I'm going to start with the belly first, and then I'm going to work my way to the front, because it's always the neglected. I always feel the back is the most neglected part of the of these ships. I don't know why. I think it's just, to me, I mean, maybe that's not true for you, but for me it is, because psychologically I kind of feel like, well, no one can see it, so why do we really care? Which is a terrible frame of mind to be in, by the way. So don't be in that, don't do that. Now, he gives you 4 different choices for your Aztecing, and tells you it's exactly, you know, it's completely up to you which ones you use where. The most important thing is that you get, you know, you try to vary it and try to keep it as as organized as you can. If you want a complete tutorial on how to lay masks down, and most of you are all rolling your eyes at this point, I know, but for those of us who don't do it often and would like a tutorial, Lou has several. So you just go to his website, Aztek Dummy, and you choose a kit that you think might use Aztecing. The Kelvin is there, and you will be able to see how the master lays down his masks, and he'll give you detailed explanations as well as to why he does what he does and some of the things to look out for. What I'm doing now is it's called weeding, and so what you do is you just sort of weed out the various windows, and then the panel is ready to go. And fortunately, this is a relatively small kit, right? So you don't have to spend the kind of time you would spend on, say, a refit, where you could spend several days doing this, and appropriately so, by the way, because you want to take your time. You do not want to rush this. Because this is really what's going to make your kit just pop. It's just going to explode. Now, you don't have to use a knife. You can use tweezers as well. However, whatever the most sort of judicious way you want to work. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. You're just weeding, really. But off they come. And you lay them down, and then you're going to hit your darkest color that you want to choose, remembering that you want contrast, and then you can start to pull this back by softening it down. Now, I'm going to use the insignia white, which is a very, very light gray, as my blending coat. That's what I'm going to use. And now, these masks are very forgiving. However, do take some care in making sure that when you lay them down, you're not tugging on them. You don't want to tug on anything, and you do want to make sure that you kind of do a little bit of an overlap, so you don't get a hard line. You don't want a hard line between the pies, so you kind of want to put those together. But this is what you get. So I'm going to go around. I'm going to get everything down. And then I'll do some airbrushing on camera for you so that you can see the complete effect. And then we'll lift these, and then we'll adjust for the next set. That's assuming you want, excuse me, more contrast. I was trying to desperately not do that on camera. Okay, so I'll continue on. And then we'll lay down the first coat and take a look at what that looks like. Okay, so the lower saucer has all of its Aztecing on, like such. And now we're going to hit this with a contrasting color for the Aztecing. Nice and light. Now you're gonna get some contrast, but don't worry about it. I'd rather it be darker right now than lighter, because we're going to blend it all back. But it is important to get this down. And make sure that you get the squares evenly. Now I know a lot of you out there who are watching me can do this in your sleep. But I've got subscribers who are learning as I learn, and we all learn together, so I appreciate your patience with us while we do this together and take a look at the result, of course. But now what you can do if you want to is, while this is down, you can get another color, which I'm going to do. I'm going to use the Russian gray. Now this is, I don't have to thin this because this is for airbrushes. We'll get this through here. And I'm just going to randomly pick a few. I'm not going to do them all. I'm just going to do a few here. Like that. And we're going to give this just a moment to sort of settle in, and then we'll lift these and we'll all take a look together. So let me give this a second just to set up, and then we'll lift them together and take a look at the result. We're going to just carefully find a corner here and start to pull these up and see what we get. Very nice. Now, as I said, we're gonna come back at this with our whites to blend this all the way back. Really tone this down. Okay, that doesn't want to cooperate. I'm going to come over here so I don't want to gouge the surface. So I'm trying to be careful. Oh. Okay. That's looking very good. Let me do one more for you here. Let's do one in camera. There we go. Now I've been deliberately lighter in some places and heavier than others, and I did use a couple of colors. I didn't just use one color. It's up to you. But I wanted to get a little bit of contrast, knowing how far I'm going to pull this back. Very nice. Very nice indeed. And we'll just keep going here. It's funny, I remember years ago seeing guys cut frisket and then do this all by hand. And let me tell you, that's weeks and weeks of work. And it's very impressive. Guys who have that much patience and that kind of a hand, I've always admired. I don't know if you guys remember, but around 2016, there was a model maker called Model Man Tom, I think his name was. I thought he was terrific. He built models. He did reviews. He was really good. He was really good. And I think he burned out, or just he disappeared. I'm not sure why. But anyway, I think about these guys sometimes, and wish I was part of the community back then, so I could have actually been able to meet them, because that's the wonderful thing about this community. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, you can see it's very impressive, very impressive. Now it looks very heavy-handed at the moment, but do not worry. Do not worry. We're going to be absolutely fine. Okay. So at this stage, all the Aztecing is on, and there's a couple of color treatments they want you to put. There's a gold application along the sides of the warp engine, and to be accurate, because I want to make sure that I'm calling it what it is, it's the warp field grills. So it's a brass. They called for a brass color around the warp field. Now that will be brought back, because now I'm going to start to blend everything back and take all this harshness away, and it will start to come back. And I'm gonna do that with the I'm gonna start with the insignia and see how I do, and then if I need to go to my my go-to, which is my opaque white, and that'll be the finish, because it the opacity on this is lovely, and we'll start to get some really nice results here, and then its final details. One of the things that we'll do, obviously, we're going to have to gloss this puppy up before we do our decals, is we've got some things to pick out. Our little orange or yellow bands and squares, and that detail our lasers, and then some picking out some little colors here and there and some details, just to sort of punch everything up. And the windows as well, we'll get a wash. We'll probably do a wash on those. Now, curiously, the thing of it is that if you go back and you watch the film, and it appears obviously in the opening sequence, so it's the story of how Kirk's father is captain for 5 minutes and then loses his life when his wife and his baby are managed to escape in a shuttle pod, and off we go. And that particular Kelvin is pretty beaten up. I mean, it's not clean and pristine as if it just came out of the shipyards. It's pretty banged up. And curiously, they do give you a choice with your decals. You can have a banged up version of your decal, or you can have an unbanged up version. But I can't really tell the difference. I suppose you can. If I get it in the light, maybe we can see. So this is supposed to be our banged up version, and this is supposed to be our pristine version. Now, I think right there on the number 0, you can see a little bit of splotchiness, but I think we can do a little bit of a better job by once we get them down and sealed, we can scratch away at them and we can play with that and dirty it down a little bit, because I do like the idea of dirtying it down. And of course, once this comes back with the whites, there'll be plenty of opportunity for us to do that. It's green strawberry that makes these grills that that you can actually put on the top here, but the decals should be fine, and that's what we're going with. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean up a little bit, and we're going to start to. I'm going to get a light misting on here, and we'll take a look at it, and what we'll do is we'll take a look at the stages as we pull it back, and we should start to see a difference. So let me get this into view here, and this is what we're playing with now. There it is. And so what we'll do is we're gonna go from here, and hopefully we're gonna start to see a little bit of, well, we will see, not a little bit, a lot. We're gonna see quite a transformation. Okay, and here she is blended back, and it obviously in the bright lights of the studio it's difficult to see. But in the studio, you're still getting all of the different grays, and everything is still there. It's just pushed back. But this is much more sort of a Trek color than the very dark gray that we had. But that allowed us to create all of the contrast. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to let this dry. We're going to hit it with a clear coat, a gloss clear coat, easy for me to say, and then we'll start tackling decals. I'm not going to put I'm not going to put the final details on until we're ready to, and I won't lift any of the masks. There are some details here that I'd like to pick out with some dry brushing, and I think we'll touch those and we'll have some fun with those. We'll get some washes on here as well to pick out some of these grid lines, and we should be dangerously close. Very excited. I always think that when you're building a starship, it really becomes a starship when you're able to put its registry on, and that's what we're doing now. We're in the decal mode, and I'm getting the registry on here, and this relatively easy to do. You line it up with the center line here. It had a gloss coat down. I've chosen to go with what is being promoted as the distressed version of these kits, of these registry, because it looks a little more tattered. I'm gonna be obviously doing some distressing of my own and some other detail work, but it has a nice gloss coat down, and we're just ready to put the NCC on. They've very kindly broken it up for you into two pieces, so that is very helpful. And let's just get this into position. Let's see here. This one is just still here. There she blows. And there she is, NCC 0514, the United States, the United Federation Starship Kelvin. Registry going down. How about that? The next decal to go on is its name. And we have that right here. These are very nice decals, by the way. It's always such a pleasure when you get nice decals as opposed to decals that just disintegrate. So I am I'm grateful for that. Into the water. And we'll get the registry on. This, we'll just give this a chance to settle down. And there's a little bit of kind of, there's some bumpage, little indentations that are in the, so we're going to sort of keep an eye on that. I'm using my solver set just where, especially a little heavier where I can see those indentations, just so that it gets a chance to settle down. Now, pull this out of the tub. Give that a second. And that's going to go right above the cannons, right there. And then that will be a big moment. Yeah, so the glass coat sort of shows up everything. Once the matte coat goes back over it, everything will really calm down and settle down, and that'll be exciting. Just noticed I hadn't pulled the bridge. There we go. Okay. This looks like it's ready to go. And we're going to slide that. We're going to try to keep that centered there. Not sure, is that centered? No, let's just... see here. Close. Close, close, close. But a little high. A little high there. Come on. Pull that over just a hair. See if I can't slide this a little bit. No, it's biting. Wow. Okay, good to know. Note to self. Yep. I think we're okay, but that ain't going anywhere. Yeah, that went down and it stayed down. How about that? Yep, the fun of trying to do anything on camera. Oh, it's fun. Now, I do intend to tear these decals a little more than they are. So, okay, we'll let those settle down. There she is, the USS Kelvin. She's in place. Yeah, it looks a little off to me. Let me see if I can fix this. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna concentrate. I need to slide that over just a little bit, and I don't want to keep burning film, and I don't want you watching. We'll be back in a sec. Well, you're in luck. I'm still at it. No, I had a tear in the Kelvin name, So fortunately, I was able to use the other set of decals. Now, I'm looking at these. I'm going to be doing some aging of my own. To the naked eye, you can't tell one from the other. They certainly made very little distinguishing marks on what they're calling the sort of the battle version, or the, not the pristine version. But we're doing okay. We're doing okay. Things are progressing. I've been getting these grids on here. I can certainly see how you could go for the green strawberry ones and get a little pop out of those, because you would get a little depth. You'd get a little depth from it, and I can see that. So boy, I'll tell you, turn the cameras on and it just turns into a train wreck. It's awesome. Okay, there we go. Don't laugh. I know you're all laughing because you're watching how incredibly difficult I'm making this. But I promise you, I'm okay. Oh dear. I don't know. It's just the way my head works. I have this on I have it on a pad, so I'm okay. In other words, these went down very well. So I'm very happy with that. There's no issues. These are nice crisp decals for sure. Just giving them just a little touch of solver set just to lock those in. So the grids are on. The front registry is on. I've got two little puppies here. Where's my, got a nicer, there it is. I've got USS Kelvin, and that's going to go there, I believe. I believe that's where that goes. And then the registry goes upside down on the other side like that. And they're going to hug this quadrant right here. Like that. So that's where those will go. So I'm going to get those on right now. Yeah, very nice decals. Very, very nice. No complaints from these decals. So I'm gonna plow on with the decaling here, and then we're gonna talk about some detail. We're gonna talk about some detail work. I've got some washes I have to do, and a little bit of sort of schmutz. I'm going to do some streaking from being in space. Media hits or something like that. I'm just going to give it a little zhuzh, and we've got some other little tiny squares here. Let me see if I can show you what I'm talking about. Let's see. Let me move it over here. There we go. And we've got these little. We've got some little indentations and little squares, and they pop up everywhere. And I'm going to hit those with a little color. That's the next thing I'm going to do after I've put these on. So we'll get all the decals on. Then we'll talk about weathering. I almost forgot. I've got 2 laser bank thruster panels that have to be painted yellow, and they're supposed to have a black line around them. I think I'm just going to use panel liner for that because it's so intricate. I could also use a little bit of my very tiny 1/64 uh, what do you call it? Pinstriping. Sorry. It's been a long year. Pinstriping, but I think just a little panel line will be fine. So what I've got to do now is mask these off. They are right here. Everything is still settling down, but there's them, Czar, and there's two of those, and I've got to hit those with some yellow, so I'm going to do that. And then I've been experimenting with some black panel liner, and that's working really well. I'm going to hit some of the detail spots with that, because that's really working a charm. The you know, obviously because I hit it with the gloss, it's just traveling beautifully, and we're getting some really nice results with the panel liner, and so I'm really happy with that. And I'll show you this here, because it did a really nice job. Let me get this into camera for you. Everything is obviously still shiny. It's got to get a coat of matte over everything, but there we go. Panel liner hitting that beautifully, and it's even creeped into these lines here. I don't know if you can see, so I'm going to be continuing to do that as well. It's really working, and I think it's going to punctuate those lines. But of course, when I hit it with the matte, a lot of that will go away and calm down. So that's really good. I'm really happy with that. I think I'll also hit the windows too. But yeah, that's working really well. And I've got some super little dots, and I could do little colors with those. Perhaps a little red, a little green, a little blue. They're micro dots, but it might be fun, you know, just to give it a little accent. Why not? Okay, so I'm going to continue with the panel liner, and then we'll do some hits, perhaps a few battle hits, and we'll do some media hits as well, because I think it's worth it. And you know, there's nothing canon about my build, but I am trying to get that feel of the first 2 minutes of the film. I don't want pristine out of the shipyard. I want something that's been through some battles. So anyway, we're gonna we'll plow on. I'm gonna come back, I think, when when everything is sort of cleaned up, and we might do a couple of battle hits on camera, and then we'll call this one for this Kelvin. I'm going to do just a few media hits and some sort of, not battle damage, but just some explosion hits or some hits, just to give it a little bit. And then when I've done that, it'll get a complete matte coat to calm it down. And this should be in the books. Should be in the books. Pretty happy with it. It's a beautiful model. It really is. It's a very unique design, and I'm thrilled I built this up. So anyway, let's do this. So what I like to do is I like to sort of find the center line. I'm a little anal about my media hits. I just want to see, okay, when the ship's coming this way, it would hit dead on, so we'd get something about there-ish. So I put down my Post-it pad, and I've got some of the ComArt opaque black, which I love for this sort of thing. Just a quick test, just to make sure that I'm good. Nice and light. And then I'm going to just give myself a hit here. And I'm gonna okay. That's pretty good. And what I love about it, because of the opacity on this, you have an opportunity to really play with it, and I love that. That's what I love about this. Is I just love that you can play with it. Let me get myself a little hit here. That's fun. Just doing these little sort of random little, and they're super, just super light, so you're not really getting, you're not getting a tremendous amount out of it, but you get just enough that it's subtle enough that you get a little, you do some that are longer than others. And I might even take one just about here, like that. It's pretty subtle, but I don't know. I think it's definitely worth it. And it just adds a certain sort of grubbiness to this that I like. I don't like it too clean. So very happy with that. I'll bring one in here. Just a wisp, but it works. Very nice. Very nice indeed. You got to know when to stop. I could just do it all day and turn it into, some kind of spotted zebra thing. But no, you got to stop. But very cool. Lots of fun. If you wanted to, too, you could use some pastels just to kind of grub it up a little bit. And that's always fun, too. But I think that's pretty good. You just have to make sure that you're, I want to say consistent, right? But it's completely subjective. Some people might go, well, that's a load of crap. Why'd you do that? And others might go, oh, well, that's cool. Like that. That's all good. You can't please everybody. As long as you please yourself. That's what I say. Okay, I'm going to do just a little bit more of my dance here, just to make sure that I'm looking perfect. We'll come back and do some final thoughts and present you with some beauty pictures. I would say that a couple of things that I think if you were to tackle this again, if I was to tackle this again, knowing what I know now, I would probably try to light it. I think this would be fun to get all of the lights on. There's an opportunity to drill into some of the tiny windows and get some pinprick light in popping from those. You could have something. You could do really something fun. Definitely with the nacelle and the warp drive engine, and get that lit up as well. But I wanted to take a break from lighting, and I think this is going to look terrific next to all of my other Star Trek builds. So I highly recommend it. It's a big thumbs up. I hope you tackle it. If you've got this in your stash, and I know you know who you are, I want you to get it out and build it because it's worth it. Remember, these things don't belong in a box. We're not. What are we saving them for? You know, so that when we're 6 feet under, somebody can sell them? No. Get them out and build them. That's why you bought it. And I know it'll give you as much pleasure as it has given me. Okay, enough of my my ranting. Let's take a look at some pictures here. If I can figure out where I am. Let's see here. Okay, so this is basically just a quick shot of the ship, you know, in its stand. It's a nice stand that it came with, and it really pleased me that it came with something that's a little more fashionable to display. Now, you could go with a block of wood, mahogany wood, get a CAD program or what have you, get some vinyl and lay this down and probably do something just as spiffy, if not more spiffy, but it's fun. The detail on this is extraordinary. Now, you did have an option to build this with the cannons up, and that could be fun too if you were of a mind to do it. And as I said, Green Strawberry does have a photo etch kit that you could use to enhance this if you so desired. Obviously, don't forget your Aztek dummy masks. You really need them to do a nice job on this. And I think Lou has done a terrific job giving us just enough to get into trouble, but plenty to really make this kit pop. And I think that there are, as I said, plenty of opportunities to get the chiller grills going, your nacelle engine glowing blue. You could even pop that. You could even pop the hangar bay door there and have something fun going on with that. I think that would definitely be worth it. Here's an overhead view. I went to town on the Aztecing. I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed giving it a couple of washes and dirtying it down just enough to get myself into trouble, but not enough to sort of destroy it. And here is a lovely side view of this ship. Lots of detail, lots going on. And I'm just absolutely thrilled we have this. I have it in my collection, and I hope you really go to town and play with this, have some fun with it, build it, because it's worth it. I'm thrilled I did. Absolutely thrilled I did. So there you go. That is the Moebius Kelvin from the original reboot Star Trek, and great fun. So thank you for joining me on this journey. As always, I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Hey, drop me a line. I'm spruverse@gmail.com. I love to hear from you. I post most days on Instagram, so you can follow my in the weeds sort of what I'm doing, what's on the bench, and what's going on in the Spruverse world. And hopefully, if all of you, any of you are going to be at Wonderfest this year, please, if you see me, come up and say hello. I love to meet all of you, and especially my subscribers. So if you're there, that would be awesome. I would love to say hi. As always, I wish all of you, please be safe, be well, build something, and I'll see you next time. Take care, everybody. Be well.